Bionic Bay is a very addictive puzzle platformer. The ingenuity is the equal blend of physics, puzzles, and precision. The experience is engrossing due to a strong atmosphere, meticulous pixel art, and bite-sized levels with alternating abilities right up until the very last level. Although the best atmospheric platformers rely on environmental storytelling with implicit and abstract meanings, unfortunately Bionic Bay relies too strongly on this notion with extremely minimal morsels of plot. When you combine this with repetitive environments, occasional frustrations that could have been avoided, and a campaign that lingers barely too long, Bionic Bay comes up a little short from being an unforgettable genre experience. Nonetheless, Bionic Bay is still extremely satisfying and unique despite competing in one of the oldest sections of gaming, and is essential for genre fanatics. Bionic Bay is a 2D atmospheric precision puzzle platformer set in an intriguing ancient biomechanical world, where Bionic Bay distances itself from genre tradition is by requiring precise skills in addition to requiring intellect to solve puzzles. You play as a scientist who was in the lab during an experiment that went catastrophically wrong. You now find yourself in a strange place that somehow feels ancient and futuristic at the same time. All you can be sure of is that this is another world, which isn't a coincidence, as the creator of Bionic Bay was largely inspired by platformers of the 80s with Super Mario and Mega Man, which transitioned into more abstract platformers of the 90s, including Another World and Oddworld. Bionic Bay is not only a love letter to those titles, but it's also an attempt to move the 2D platformer into the modern age with its introduction of a physics-based system to pair with traditional genre elements. Over the course of the game, you will discover otherworldly powers that you've inherited due to the laboratory mishap. By the end of Bionic Bay, you will need to be as intellectually sharp as you are physically. Movement might be built around running, jumping, and dashing, but the brilliance of Bionic Bay is the skills that you will possess over the course of the game, and your ability to combine them that make the game feel bespoke. Bionic Bay wouldn't feel out of place among some of the early 90s 2D platformers like Another World or Oddworld. The universe is deeply rooted in science fiction with its visuals to the score and the premise, but Bionic Bay doesn't rely on nostalgia. Instead, the precision gameplay experience brings something new to the 2D platformer. Where Bionic Bay truly feels elevated is the skills that you will possess during the course of the campaign and your ability to harness them properly. The pacing in which the skills are given to you over the course of the game is as precise as the controls are. You begin with a long jump to get acclimatized to the world before you're introduced to the main mechanic of the game, which is the swap ability. With the simple press of a button, at your fingertips is now the ability to swap yourself with an inanimate object, which can help you get to some place that's out of reach or across a laser that is blocking your path. Part of the charm of Bionic Bay is experiencing these new powers for the first time, but you're also going to find yourself controlling gravity and time, as well as using environmental items that feel reminiscent of Portal. There are 23 levels that are short, addicting, and feature a tunnel of light at the end of each one that is dopamine-inducing. The world of Bionic Bay is rendered in highly detailed pixel art, complete with intricate lighting. The ambient sci-fi inspired soundtrack elevates the atmosphere, and the industrial and mechanical sound effects evoke a cold and dangerous world. You will often find yourself audibly shocked when you discover how brutally harsh this world can be, and you will repeatedly discover this fact. Luckily, Bionic Bay not only features a sublime checkpoint system, but restarts are almost instant, which alleviates the stress and frustration as you constantly want to attempt to correct your failures. It's not my cup of tea, but in addition to the single-player campaign, Bionic Bay also features online play, which allows players to complete for the fastest speedrun on each level and will require the player to harness all of the tools that they have been given. My biggest disappointment with Bionic Bay is that the demo set the table for such an engrossing plot that I don't feel the full game delivered on. The world created is extremely intriguing, but the plot details are too sparse, and even the environmental storytelling leaves you wanting to understand more about this universe. Some of the best atmospheric platformers like Limbo, Inside, and Planet of Lana burn bright with a short completion time between 4 to 6 hours. At this length, there isn't enough time to feel repetition, and the experience is over before you know it, and you're left wanting more. Bionic Bay, on the other hand, took about 10 to 12 hours to complete the 23 levels, and it could have been more impactful if it was slightly more refined. The precision and physics system are the strength of Bionic Bay, but sometimes, like a dual-edged sword, it can cut both ways. Despite knowing what you need to do logically, you might have difficulty executing due to the unpredictable nature of physics. Other times, frustration might arise due to the darkness of the world and how far back the camera is. Seeing the scale of the world is essential, but it can cause you not to see little things like the small ledge that you need to grab. Where Bionic Bay really sets itself apart from its peers is how the puzzles within require equal amounts of intellectual prowess and dexterity. The experience harmoniously blends puzzles, physics, precision, and mystery. Bionic Bay is dripping with atmosphere due to its gritty yet beautiful pixel art and ominous score. With a stronger emphasis on storytelling, implicit or explicit, and a slightly more refined campaign, Bionic Bay could have had the lasting impact of some of the genre's best. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and find a lot more like it. Video games is a positivity-first gaming outlet. We believe that gaming should be a force for good. We focus on making uplifting content with constructive discussions and celebrating what makes games great. We've also just recently opened up Super Thanks, so if you've always wanted to show your appreciation to the channel, now you have a way to do so. That's all for today, and until next time, be good to your fellow gamer, but more importantly, be better to your fellow human.